I'm Tiffany Souter, entrepreneur, wife, mom to 4 girls, and a woman figuring it out just like you. If you're tired of living a life of have to and finally ready to build a life of want to, then you're in the right place. Come on, let's go build your life of and. Well, I'm pretty pumped today that my hair is washed. I have had several days in a row of getting my workout in, but a little other self-care being able to actually take place. So I don't know about you guys, but my hair sometimes gets so dirty that I literally can't think. I just have to go wash it. So that's where I was at, just keeping it real today. I had on my calendar today to record a solo show, which is where I just push record on the microphone and go through a topic. And instead of teaching on a tool or something like that, I'm just going to export a few things that are just going on in my life, going on in my head, and some lessons that I am trying desperately to keep in front of myself as I just go through the season. I've been talking on the pod quite transparently that it's just going to be a sprint this fall, and there's not a lot of space, and I can do it, and it's a lot. There are things that hijack my focus and hijack my brain and hijack my confidence. And so I was just kind of inventorying my thoughts and reactions and conversations over the last couple of days. And I'm just going to export some of those. And I don't know, maybe these are relatable, maybe they're not. Maybe I'm the only one on planet Earth that deals with this stuff. But I find when other people expose what their brains are doing and telling them, it helps me reflect more intentionally on my own. And so that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to go through 3 things. We'll see where else my brain goes. Okay, I wrote down this. Don't let your ego take over your joy and priorities. Don't let your ego. So I'm talking to myself, Tiffany, do not let your ego take over your joy and your priorities. And I talk about in the Life of And Academy, the difference between values-driven decision-making versus ego-driven decision-making. And I have definitely been in seasons where I have ego-driven decision-making. So hey, Tiffany, we love that you have insert talent here and you know a lot about marketing. Would you be interested in joining this super fancy board? It's ego-driven Tiffany is oh my word, I am needed. Absolutely. That looks like an important room. I'm sure I'll learn things and meet people and it'll be cool and there'll be a party I get to go to. And so ego-driven Tiffany is for sure in 10 times out of 10 on that offer. Values-driven Tiffany looks at her calendar and says, oh, wow, you meet on Thursday nights? My daughter's volleyball games are always on Thursday nights. And in this season, while she's at home and in high school, I want to be available for those games as much as possible. I don't want recurring conflicts, though I do have conflicts sometime. And so values-driven Tiffany says, thank you so much for the offer. I would love to do that someday, but this is not the moment. So egos-driven Tiffany versus values-driven Tiffany could respond to the exact same situation in a very different way with a very different long-term consequence. And so when ego-driven Tiffany takes over my decision-making, I get into a bit of a mess. Ego-driven Tiffany, I hope he listens to this. I'm going to send it to him because I'm so proud of all that he's doing. But if you live in Indianapolis or in Indiana, Nate Spangle has just been crushing it over the last, 2 years. He's really working on building a content platform, promoting and featuring how amazing the state of Indiana is. And he is just crushing it. He's doing a great job. And alongside crushing it, he's also just putting in an enormous number of hours. He tailgated for 72 hours. I'm being a little extreme, but not much, at the Indy 500. He's doing all these insane races. He ran the entire Monon Trail. He memorized every county seat of the 92 counties, insane things. And it is incredible what he's doing, what he's building. And I'm so proud of him and I'm so rooting for him. And sometimes when I'm scrolling my phone and I'm seeing that he has 70,000 Instagram followers and that some of his reels are getting 500,000 to 1 million views, Ego Tiffany is I want to do that. Oh my word, I'm so far behind. Why am I not doing that? Why are my reels not performing that way? I need to get myself in action and I need to get with it. And so ego-driven, he can lose confidence in what I am doing and building and what is working. Ego Tiffany can commit my time that I do not have to tasks that I don't know how to do, against strategies that I don't understand. Like, and Ego Tiffany can do all these crazy things that bury me under a pile of, I don't know, just feeling bad about what I'm doing. It's like so silly. And I love Nate and I'm so excited for what he's doing. But even those people that are adjacent to you who are having success in an area that is different than you, Values Tiffany looks at that and says, I'm so excited for him. I'm going to support him in every way that I can, which Ego Tiffany says that too. But values-based Tiffany says, I have 4 kids at home. Nate does not. Values Tiffany says, I have other businesses that I've invested and started that need me in ways Nate does not. Like, Values Tiffany needs to be available for her kids in a season that are important to me. And that is not the same set of ingredients as Nate has in his life. And so he has a different set of things that he's choosing to go after because those don't exist. And so values-driven Nate can go do those things, but only Ego Tiffany can go do that. I don't know if that makes sense as I'm saying it across the pod, but I hope it does. It does in my brain. Where Ego Tiffany can sabotage the choices that I've made to say, this is the effort, this is the pace, these are the outlets, these are the channels, this is where I'm going to go win. Those choices that values-based Tiffany has made, sometimes Ego Tiffany can come in and say, it's not enough. You're not going fast enough. Look where you're losing. Look where other people are winning. It's just not productive. So I don't know if there's a simple fix except acknowledging it. I was literally scrolling Instagram this morning, looking at Nate's stuff, and I was like, oh my word, it's incredible. And then right after that, I was like, I feel bad that I'm not doing it too. No. Values Tiffany has already chosen her strategy. Tiffany understands her priorities. Values Tiffany has right-sized her effort against these things in a way that are a little uncomfortable, but do indeed fit inside of all the other things and all of the other people that I've committed to and love and the roles that I want to show up in. It all has to exist together. And I think that's like the secret to the life of And is like, yeah, I'm on social media creating content, but I'm doing that at an octave or like a decibel level. Maybe that's a better way of saying it, a decibel level that fits with everything else going on in my life. We don't get to pick a decibel level of a gajillion. I don't know what a real decibel level is, but we don't get to pick a decibel level of a gajillion in every area of our lives every single day of the year. It doesn't work. We have to right-size things as they fit together so that the things and the people and the priorities that we've committed to are fueled by our values, and we manage those day in and day out according to our values. So anyway, I guess maybe this is confessing and also just drawing it out for myself. I can take my happiness away in a way that is so unnecessary by just letting Ego Tiffany drive the bus. Doesn't work very well. So, okay, that's number 1. Don't let your ego take over your joy and priorities and decision making. Number 2, I wrote down the power of collaboration and being vulnerable with your challenges are like trajectory changing. The power of collaboration and being vulnerable with your challenges are trajectory changing. I don't know, like 6 months ago, I met, I'll just use her name, Danielle Dillon. She was on the podcast with me a couple of weeks ago. And she had mentioned like, hey, I'm out here. She's a therapist. She's a podcaster. She's like, I'm just feeling super lonely. And she was very bright and vibrant and clear about that. Like, I'm feeling super lonely. And me being who I am was like, oh my word, I'm so sorry you feel lonely. And then I was like, you know what? I do too. I didn't say that, but it gave me permission to inventory whether I was feeling that same way. And I was feeling lonely. Like, I'm used to being part of a big team. I'm used to having an office to walk into. I'm just like used to having my calendar pull me through my day, a leadership team help me identify priorities, the fiscal year, get me clear on what my life is going to look like. Like, I'm just used to all those external forces pushing and pulling and informing what my life looks like. And in this world of Life of And, I am set to architect that in a way that is more on my own. And so my strengths and my weaknesses are like amplified in this environment. And so I was like, I feel lonely too. So I got a group of women together to meet for lunch. that we're all kind of in this new media podcasting space. And that was a springboard for what has become just this like excellent relationship with Danielle. I asked her to put her brain into my Life of Anne stuff. She asked me to help her on some monetization and marketing things that she would work on. And we have both like our brains have grown at an exponential speed. First, because we were willing to be vulnerable with this is where I really am. Then we were willing to claim and name where it was that we were struggling and feeling vulnerable and behind and kind of stuck. And plugging one another into those areas that like is not an area of strength for the other has like just moved us forward so exponentially. And I think it's like just reminded me how powerful collaboration is, being in proximity of people who are solving something similar to you. I've got YPO is a huge outlet of that for me. Other business owners. I was just on retreat with a group of business owners talking about like this idea of being in proximity with people who are solving similar challenges to you is an imperative to changing your learning trajectory in any aspect of our lives. I mean, I'm like, even finding this is like, my friends are very healthy. I would say I'm like on the lower end of the healthiness of my friends. You know, like I'll eat an Oreo still. Maybe that day will come where I won't. But I'm just like on the lower end of healthiness. Because I have all these super healthy friends, it makes me know more about that stuff because I'm closer to that information. Like I'm in proximity to it. Kind of a stupid example, but it becomes so obvious to me when I say it out loud that like you are not going to get better at something faster if you are not in proximity to, like in collaboration with people who are solving the similar challenges. But you can only get there if you're willing to be honest with yourself and honest with the outside world about what you're stuck about. Like being vulnerable about it can be really hard to admit to yourself because then it's like, oh crap, I have to do something about it. Or you have to sit in the discomfort of it, both of which are like annoying. If you decide to address it, it gives you another to do. And if you decide to sit in it, it's like, oh, geez, at least pretending I didn't have to deal with it so much. So anyway, this has been just a reminder experience for me that when I sit in my office and do the things, like, yes, I have to do that sometime, but getting out in the world, taking stock of where am I stuck and putting myself in proximity of people who are solving or have already solved the same challenges, just critical to being successful. I don't know what your area of life is, but I'm sure there's somewhere where you feel like I'm stuck here or I'm feeling lonely or I just don't know where to start. It can be a really intimidating thing, especially as leaders and as solvers and as like moms who have the answers to everybody else's problems. I think it can be really vulnerable to sit in that discomfort, like that discomfort and that uncomfortable pause. Okay, third one. This is like literally stepping through my life right now, people. The third one is my reaction and choices will inform everyone else's experience. My reaction and choices will inform everyone else's experience. I'm going to talk about this through the vein of my own personal life, but then I also recently spoke to a company that was going through a ton of transition, and I think there's a professional application for this too. So, okay, personal application. Quick reminder, my reaction and choice is going to inform everyone else's experience. So we are going on this house journey. We've purchased a new home. It's under construction. It's going to be like 6 to 9 months before we can move into it. And so the Souders have some choices to make. Do you have 2 homes for 9 months until the other home is ready to move into? There's all kinds of things that are helpful about that, like we're not displaced. And there are all kinds of things that are uncomfortable about that, like it's expensive to have 2 homes. And will our house sell fast or slow? And how much will it sell for? And we have equity wrapped up in this and like all those kinds of things. So there's helpful things and unhelpful things about waiting until spring to sell our house. Option 2 for the Souders is to sell our house now, which means we have to take half the contents out of it because it needs to look like hardly anybody lives here. We have to live our lives as our house is on the market, which I've heard living in a show-ready house is terrible. And we have 4 kids and a lot of activity and we're not always here. And so we have to leave the house every day, like all picked up and just all the things. It's like logistically makes me want to fall asleep thinking of all the things that have to happen to make that happen well. And then I'm thinking about the holidays that are coming up. And are my girls going to be displaced over Christmas? Are we not going to really have like a Christmas tree and a Christmas experience? And will we be living in a rental or at my in-laws? Or will we go to my parents' house for 2 weeks over Christmas? And will we even have a Christmas tree? Like, I'm just sort of like panicked. I don't always even panic, but just like trying to reconcile a bunch of things that don't have answers yet. And so our realtor came through on earlier this week and was like walking through with me. Here's the projects that need to happen. Here's the closets that need to be cleaned out. Here's this stuff that needs to be blah, blah, taken here. I was like, oh my gosh, it was like a long list of things aside the rest of my life that I need to figure out. And JR is leaning towards selling the house sooner than later. I understand why it's like a risk off move, but it's also kind of logistically feels hard to me. So I have a choice to make in the way that I lead myself and my family through this uncertainty. I can focus on all of the things that are hard and terrible about it, which there's going to be a long list of those things, or I can choose to focus on the like adventure and fun and one-time like one-off life experiences that come from being disrupted for the course of 6 to 9 months and like make it fun. It might mean that we have to eat dinner on the floor. It might mean that we have to have a different meaning of Christmas traditions. It might mean that we're at my parents' house for 2 weeks. It might mean a whole list of who knows what's. And my reaction as the mom and kind of the cultural leader of the family, just because my reaction sets everybody else's sort of attitude and outlook, is going to make a really big difference about whether this is fun and everybody looks back and says, that was hilarious and a little hard, but we were in it together. Or look back on this experience and say, that was terrible. Mom was stressed. Everything was awful. And our lives were a mess. And I really believe that my choice and what I choose to believe about it right now is going to wholly drive all of my vocabulary, all of my choices, where I put my energy, the way I telegraph it to my kids, the fun that I decide to put into it, or the drudgery that I pull out of it, is going to totally change. The exact same experience has a chance to be two completely different outcomes for our family. I mean, the outcome is going to be, I guess, that we're in a new house eventually, but the process can be terrible or the process can be fun. And my reaction and my choices and my attitude is going to have a really big bearing on what that looks like for everybody else. So that's like personal life thing. But isn't it the exact same thing in our work lives? I mean, I've been in client services for 20 years of my career. And like when a client comes back with a bunch of hard feedback at like the 11th hour, there is a moment of like, you just want to murder them. It's like you want to quit your job. You feel like none of your work is meaningful and you just get mad and disengage. It's like one reaction. The other is to say like, okay, we've got this much time left. We can do this. We are super smart and capable. And let's go order some pizza and take a 20-minute walk to give ourselves a break, but we got to get back to work. Like two totally different reactions to the exact same experience. So I don't know, maybe this is about helping me understand how much is in my control. Maybe this is really the lesson that I need to hear for myself, is realizing how much is actually in my control in a situation where everything feels out of my control. Because when our house sells is out of my control, exactly the day we move into our new house is out of my control. Where we spend Christmas is out of my control. Like those things are out of my control. But my attitude and my response is wholly in my control. Maybe that's really what I need to say to myself. And maybe that's what you need to hear today. I don't know. When I was speaking I have some corporate partnership relationships where I go in and speak to the employees, sometimes all and sometimes just the women. And I was doing one recently for an organization that's going through just a tremendous amount of change, like a tremendous amount of change. Been around a lot of different companies, and this is a very long list of change that this organization is being asked to navigate. And one of the things I said that they really heard and felt was our reactions are literally contagious. And I literally feel like this work I do is just about holding a mirror up for myself every single day, teaching what I'm learning what I'm teaching, this continuous cycle. And it's true, our reactions are literally contagious, When you walk into a store and you feel somebody just be like, my word, welcome. How are you doing? Today's such a great day. How can I help you? It's like, oh my, okay, I guess today is a great day. Let me behave that into existence. So I don't know. These are what's going on in my life right now. And these are the things I'm learning in this choice and decision to want a lot out of life and to want to be good in a lot of areas in life. There are, I think, a core set of beliefs that we have to go back and revisit over and over and over and over again to keep ourselves in the center of the road as life tries to push us to one side or the other. Even right now, I'm working on a ton of events. And so there's a lot of recruiting involved in that where I need to reach out to people and say, hey, I'd love for you to join. And like fear is just yelling at me like, oh my word, these are going to be terrible. Nobody's going to show up. It's going to rain. I'm like, oh my word, fear. No, it's not. No, it's not. There's no evidence that would suggest that that is true. That is not true. And so I think as we step into new things, as we step into our own potential, as we step into leading others, we have to first know how to lead ourselves. And I think I'm just really aware of that right now, that I am leading a lot of things and I'm leading a lot of projects and I'm leading a lot of teams. And to be able to do that well, I have to be able to be steady and consistent and aware of what's going on in my own mind. So anyway, thanks for listening, you guys. Maybe this episode was mostly for me, but appreciate. We're almost at 300 episodes. I just can't believe it. That's so many. I don't know if I've done anything 300 times. As somebody who is serially inconsistent, that feels like a very big number to me. I can't believe I've kept pushing record. But here we are. We're almost at the end of year 5. And just appreciate all the areas that you guys are supporting this Life of And movement. The speaking engagements, attending my executive retreat, the seat at the table events that we're holding in Indianapolis. It's just super fun. So anyway, thank you again for tuning into this week's episode of Life of And. If this episode has helped you at all, please share it with a friend. It's the fastest way that we grow the show. And I want to just give a special shout out to my friends at Share Your Genius. They've been such thoughtful collaboration partners with me over the last 5 years. And if you're thinking about pushing record in the new year or thinking about bringing audio into your content strategy, you need to reach out and call my friend Rachel. The link's in show notes. So thank you all. Appreciate your time and go crush your week. Talk soon. Thanks for listening to The Life of And. This is your weekly reminder to keep making bold choices, saying clear yeses, and holding space for what matters most. As always, if you like this episode, I'd love for you to drop a review and share it with your friend. It's the fastest way that we can grow the show. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you next time.